Okay, hello, good evening, CHCP, esteemed colleagues. This is welcome to active engagement in discussion forum for CHCP faculty, making the rounds for our students. We are going to present here a fun, exciting, and a little repetitive presentation here. And I am Holly Whiting. And I'm going to introduce to you Diane Hargrove. If you don't already know her, but if you do, you know how compassionate, high-tech, savvy professional who just amazes me every time, every moment I'm with her. She can solve any issue, and she is such a sharp thinker. She's very passionate about our healthcare students. She's exquisite, impeccable, and problem solving. She's fair and accurate, first-rate professor, and I am so proud to be her co-worker. So here we go. We're going to take off our videos because you don't need to look at our faces. We want you concentrating on the slides. So I'm going to do this before, okay, stop my video. There we go. So I'm going to go on to the next slide. And Diane, take it away.
Okay, so what can we do for active engagement? Well, first of all, we can provide positive and encouraging feedback in the discussions. We can also paraphrase the students' posts and the comments that they make. So when we respond back to the students and also to get them to engage more, we're going to paraphrase what they've stated and then add more content in. We can use the sandwich method for discussion response. And we can also share experiences and encourage them to share their experiences as well.
And this isn't all what we can do. Wait until the end, and you'll see so many new practices. And here are what are a few of that we're going to present. You know how to say the student's name in the beginning, be positive, encouraging, connect with the student's previous statements, connect with the textbook. That's what they read it, recite it, reference it, and do the APA. Model all your expectations, live it. We're going to, if you don't now use the Socratic method of questioning, see what you can do. Check back to see if they're okay. We're going to introduce a launch post, a summary post, the grading rubric. We'll kind of do that. And especially gratitude, show your students gratitude. And both Diane and I know we're grateful you're here.
Yes, so grateful. So what will that become for the end results? It will have improved or increased engagement, which also equals retention. And that's exactly what we want. And it also provides empowerment for the student.
All right, and this example here is I have good comments and greetings, but sometimes I just don't know what to say and my mind freezes. So what I did is I Googled 101 best ways to say good job. And then I will use some of these. I use them when I'm providing responses in the discussion post or the feedbacks. For examples in my feedbacks, and here is one of them. John, great post. Well, that's like kind of normal. I like the way you described it in detail. I can see you did a lot of research for this topic. Examples of the posts, and we're going to do that. And here, Jane, I really appreciate your input. And here is one place where you can get that. And here is another way where I find these greetings. I look it up in a thesaurus, I put in synonyms, and then I can use all these so I don't keep using good job, great going, that kind of stuff. A professional connoisseur. Boy, when I put this in the greeting, the students just love it. Skillful, expertise, you're able. These are just some of the words that I use. And this slide is just general tips, and you are the facilitator. And so we have to model that. So we're going to go through different steps of a quality facilitator in the classroom. And we're going to we monitor group work if clarification is needed. Well, some of this is for the on ground, but instead of going around the room, we go and look at all the discussions and we validate everyone's contributions equally. And we have to be really conscious of the word equally today. We just don't want one student's kind of sliding through the work. And we avoid examples of question participants should be asking. If you do, you'll be settling on the directions of the questions. And some more best practices, and we're going to show you how to do this, is write some of your own posts to put in the class to encourage participation. So it's not just responding to the student, you're responding to the questions, the initial question from campus. And you keep the posts on a Word document so you can use them in the future. And only keep the good ones. If you have a bad one, don't keep it. And encourage participation by showing your examples. I also add videos, graphic websites, apps, documents, and I always send them to, not always, I send them to the library, the CHCP library. It is phenomenal. You have to get creative. And we want to have fun in the discussion. So that's why I add a lot of, like, if we're talking about, I add medical terminology, I add all kinds of pictures, GIFs, and enjoyment, and it will increase retention, understanding, desire, and inspire, and they like going to it. There also, we can do storytelling. I'm going to repeat a little bit on that later. We're going to add appropriate humor so we can be effective. Again, I am repeating myself. Add GIFs, visuals, and videos. We can't say that enough, and not always, but give positive accolades to your students when they use creative posts. And even when they only say one or two sentences, I still give them a positive accolade. So hopefully they take that and they want it for the next discussion post they make. More best practices is hold the same expectation for yourself as you do for your students. Acknowledge the strength of the students in writing. Be creative, phenomenal, and inspiring. And close your post with a thank you and your name. And I have I state, make your success happen. And sometimes I say today, sometimes I say add details, but every one of my posts end in make your success happen. In the announcements, where do key ideas go? Key ideas is what you have a contract to the student to have them learn by the end of the week or by end of the course. So I post them in the week's announcements, in the launch post, DQ, and in a summary post. And some of you haven't heard those terms used, so I'm going to explain that. And the reason I do it is because it engages them, it enhances their learning, it really repeats and digs deep into their brain about what are the key ideas, what they should be learning. And so I also put them in just the regular posts too. You did this one. And what is a launch post? A launch post is at the beginning of, on Friday or on week one, on Friday of week one, I organize my week two. So I will create a launch post and I post it in the week two discussion on Friday of week one. And it has a greeting. And usually I call my students geniuses, so I will greet them as geniuses. Key idea, I have an example of an optional format, which I'm going to show you. I add at least one intriguing Socratic question. I have a salutation, say goodbye, good job, make your success happen, and then I have references. So I have an example of what a launch post is. Here is the key ideas. Here's the optional format. And here is an example of what I want the students to answer. So this is just an example. And a summary post. I post this on Sunday mornings, but that's because I'm kind of neurotic about answering the students. You can do this on Saturday, or you could do it on Friday. What I do is sometimes I will take what the student said and quote them down in here. I call it wrapping up, and they know that I summarize what they should be learning, the key ideas again. And so here is a reminder of what I want them to do. And I usually will have their reference in the APA style. And then I also share a textbook connection in my post. And here is one of my examples of sharing some of the experiences that I had. And then I referenced this student, or this is a textbook I referenced, I'm sorry. I put that down here again, so that I'm referencing APA. A lot of students, I teach the first courses that they take. And I think I'm getting some interference right now. I hope you don't hear that buzzing. This just stopped. I'm having some cement worked on where I'm at. So teaching the skill of questioning, we're transforming here to these questioning. And most of you already know how to do this. So this is all repetitive, and it's just enhancing that you do this and reminding you. So there are different types of question, professor to student and student to students. And the students really, like, once they get into the habit, when they're on rounds and they're nurses or they're in healthcare, they're going to be able to really develop questioning the patients and learning more about what care they need. So student to student, professor to student, it's a good idea. And the questioning is essential, yet it's overlooked a lot. And we used to do this at CHCP, and I still do it. So these are some of the things that the students learn about when they start to question. So I'm just going to highlight. They think critically. They feel a greater power that they're learning, and they have ownership of their learning. And they also like creating the relationship between them and another student. And it's Bloom skills. I actually post this in my classes and in an announcement. So there's questions down here. This is Bloom's taxonomy, all the levels from knowledge to creativity. So they can use this as a crutch as well. And this is just another one of why we use the skill of questioning. And here is the Socratic method and here's Socrates. And sometimes I will post this and not say his name and see how many people can guess who this is. And I think it's really important that the students keep the questioning skill. They don't need to know who he is, but they need to know that they can do questioning. And here are helping the students ask questions. I give some examples. I let them tweak the questions that I have to their own. They can ask a question of what they think is the most important key idea and what will guide them in their reading. And it can be answered. You can answer what you wrote if you're the student, and it will help them solve a problem, or it helps reflect. Here are some sample questions that I have used and have other students have used. So here's my response to Emily. And then here's Emily's response to the class. And she just did a basic one. Is healthcare a right or a privilege? Then here's a response to Shantae. And then Shantae asked the classmates. Here's my response question just to Mohammed. And then here's what he turned around and asked. So I don't give them points for it, and I don't deduct points for not doing it. It's kind of on their own. And in the beginning, in week 1, students aren't asking many questions, but by week 8, they're phenomenal asking questions. They just love it. And they love doing the relationship with other students. And I also add other resources, and Diane is going to go on to some of this, but I add YouTube videos, articles, supplement info, and graphics. and I do a debate. Here's the article that I wanted them to read. And this debate on nature nurture gets going, and the students like it. It takes them out of the realm of just doing a responding to the discussion. Again, we want to emphasize having fun in the discussion. Add those GIFs, add those YouTubes. I add music YouTubes. The students just love it. And one of the things about doing a music YouTube is that when they hear that song played again later in their life, they'll remember the DQ. I also, some people might think that I'm helping the students, but I really want the students to get everything out of the campus question. And some of them will just write one thing about the campus question. So I put a format, and I tell them it's optional. They don't have to follow it, but actually they do. And then this here, I will say each one of these can be a paragraph. So they're writing and they're learning. Remember, I teach mostly the entry-level students. They're learning to write in paragraphs if they didn't learn it in high school and grammar school. And they have sentences. And then I'm going to show you something. I'm kind of really dedicated to teach everybody the 3 support habit for a lifetime. It's not well known because it takes a little time in the beginning, just like if you wanted to ride a unicycle in the beginning, it takes time to learn it, and by the end you can. But if you have one wheel, it's going to be pretty difficult to learn to pay attention if you were sitting on a unicycle, or to put something on a table. Or if I just said, do you want an apple? When you add a wheel to a unicycle, it's a lot stronger. Wouldn't your argument be a lot stronger if you had 2 supports, 3 supports? A tricycle, you can hardly flip this over. Just like a table. If you have 2 legs on a table or a stool, it's going to fall down. But you put that 3rd leg, it's very important. So I have my students respond in 3s. Also, if I said, do you want an apple? You might say, what? But if I say, hey, I'm going to slice it for you, and you're going to taste the most fresh apple, you can smell the apple cooking. We're going to not add sugar, but we're going to have all the fragrance of an apple pie. You're going to need to create an interest. You're going to strengthen their statements by having 3. You're going to increase their memory. And you're going to start neuroplasticity in the students, which is something really good, is creating accents in your brain. We're going to give more correct connections to real life. It can be evidence-based. It makes it strong. It's professional. It creates more interest. It motivates, and it transfers the knowledge. And it's a vivid demonstration of wisdom and knowledge. So that's why I do it, and I'm pretty dedicated. And it's a hidden curriculum I have, because when at the end of 8 weeks, like I said, I don't add or subtract points for this, but by the end of the 8 weeks, they're doing it. And they actually, I tell them to take it over to their discipline of their children, have 3 supports. I can explain that better. I feel a little nervous because I'm running through this and I don't want to encroach and whatever on your time. So use the 3 supports. And then here is the 9 traits of critical thinking. And every one I think of professors should almost have a few of these, maybe not all 9, but you should have these these characteristics in your post. So you examine theirs, you communicate, you have an inquiry, you strive for excellence, you have a reflection, you give links, you create. The more creative you are, and all the students are creative, and you adapt to what they're saying, and you collaborate. So you should have at least 3 of the 9 traits. And what if the student does not address the question? And Diane has some good pointers on this as well. Is I say, I relate to the student. I will pick out something, a greeting. I acknowledge what they wrote. This is like a sandwich, and that what they did was very good. But I don't use the word but ever because it's a body part. But yet, I use the word yet. I say, let's look at this other part of the discussion question that you didn't quite get. And I don't say you didn't get, I say, let's look at it. What can we learn from this part of the discussion? How does it relate to healthcare? And I can restate that question in a different way. So we're getting back to Diane, and this is what the students love it when you add YouTube, article, web fact, supplements, GIFs, videos, quotes, appropriate humor, storytelling, and pop quizzes. And Diane, what do you have? I'm sending it to you right now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Holly. I was so engaged. You had me so excited about the content.
Well,
So
thank
just
you.
yes. So we have to keep it exciting and engaging. And each of these items listed here is things that we can add in. So instead of just constantly adding in content and words, we want to add in some YouTube videos, websites, articles, and get them to share some as well. We want to start new habits and add in some GIFs, some fun GIFs and graphics. I love using GIFs and so forth when I am responding back to when they do a great job. I'll add in a fun GIF it'll be it'll demonstrate a picture of something really cool. They may even say cool beans, for
It's like
example.
fireworks. It's really good.
Yeah, and it really makes them feel comfortable, and it makes them feel empowered and inclusive, and it makes them feel like their posts are really worth $1,000,000, like it really is. So, and I like to add a pop quiz in just in the middle of a discussion because the week can go long and it can get a little redundant sometimes. So sometimes I'll just add in big red letters, pop quiz, and I'll say, first person who can tell me something, and it'll be something relative to the reading, usually, to force them to go back and revisit something that they have read in the ebook. And I'll say, first one who can give me this answer will get a treat. And the treat, of course, would be a fun GIF. It might be a picture of a sundae, a hot fudge sundae or something of that nature. But just something to make you feel a little warm and fuzzy on the inside. Okay.
Okay. Slide. There we go. And here is your proof. You want to explain this?
Sure, this is just a testimony that confirms how much the students really enjoyed seeing the little videos that I may have created for them, or in my announcements and so forth. I put in a lot of very helpful videos. They can hear my voice and they can see the screen as I'm explaining to them, this is what I'm expecting. These are the objectives we're going to cover, and these are my expectations. So I give them a lot of things to look at through my videos, so forth. So as you can see, this is just one student. She was very afraid at first, but my video really relaxed her and it made her exciting. And then I responded back with a really cool GIF, like, you've got this, that strong baby. You're now empowered. And it's kind of cute.
It is cute. And the students just love this. And I do the same. And they just really like being noticed and saying a good job. And this gift says it better than good job. It's
yes.
Really, okay, these are some of the other resources that I put in. And Diane does this too. Here's an article that I thought was really a good article, and it has Jimmy Fallon in there. So I thought that they would like that. And then brain scans, predicts criminal behavior. And they like this kind of stuff. Here's my debate again, a music video, and I do references. And this is just another reference. And this is pretty old. I usually won't go back 5 years. So I don't usually put in one that's like 2016 and earlier. Those are done. Now here is another one from Diane.
So this one I said how to add in GIFs, and then I scratched out the word GIF and just said how to add fun files to a course. Because sometimes, people may not know, how do you add in those cool little GIFs? Well, the first thing I do is create a folder for GIFs that's on my computer. So then I choose different clip arts that I find on the internet, and then I save that to my folder. Then I go to the course home, and in the left navigation, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose files. I'm going to click on files, and then I'm going to click on the upload button. From there, it will take me back to my computer, and I can choose the folder in which I have the GIFs saved on my computer. Now, I usually have a bunch of them. So I'll do a Control A, which will highlight all the GIFs at once. And then when I have them all ready to be uploaded, I'm going to click upload and ready, and all the GIFs will just add to the course, and then I'll be ready to use it in the course. So then when I'm in the announcement or in my discussion platform, I can click on the image icon, click on the down arrow, and choose the course image that I've uploaded. And that's how I add in the fun GIF files to the course, to the discussions, as well as my announcements. And the students really like seeing that.
Yeah, and that is like terrific. I put in the files called pictures for my courses. And what I do is if I find a picture, but it won't upload, is I put it in a PowerPoint and put it for one huge slide in the PowerPoint. And then I save my PowerPoint as a JPEG. So in the file, so then it is a picture. And then I can go like she does. I go to add a picture in the discussion, and I go to my files on the computer, just what she does here. So I started with only one GIF. Now I have hundreds of GIFs, and I'm sure that that's what Diane has as well. And they're fun to use. It makes me happy. And I know it's making the students more engaged and wanting to come to the computer and the desire.
Yes.
Yeah, and she does it really well. Okay, and here's another one of hers. Or is
So
it
like
yeah.
like I had mentioned earlier, sometimes I like to add in a pop quiz in the DQ. And it is to break up that monotony that sometimes come with our weekly discussions. So for example, I can say, who can name 4 new transitions in PowerPoint 365? Because I mostly teach computer applications. And I'll say the first person to successfully answer this question will win something sweet. And this is just an example of a hot fudge sundae that I wish I had right now. But it gives them something sweet, and they'll say, oh, wow, thank you so much, but it really makes them excited to see what is she going to do next, because it's fun and it's really interesting when you're adding in a different variety of techniques or best practices in the discussions, to really help keep them engaged and motivated. It gives them wanting more and wanting to see, what are we going to learn next, or what are we going to do next? So that's just something fun that I kind of do, and try to incorporate that every week.
I think we both do that, because I do that. They love the pop quizzes, and they like to be the first, and it's fun. Yeah. And then we post visuals. This is one of my slides that's saved. Oh, we're talking about epigenetics here, so that's that one. And then this is a 5Y worksheet, and I post this in every one of my classes during the first week, and it just gets them to understand and get to the bottom of their understanding when they have a question. So that's what this is, and here's the reference. And then also, like, I will post these from the internet that I find them. I find them where you can get the free ones, but I also will always reference them. And they like seeing this. So I don't have to create them. So it's a lot less time for me to create if I had to create this. But like Diane says, you save them in a folder and then you have them. It's a very
Correct.
good idea. I also, and I think Diane does this too, we add quotes, and students love famous quotes. And I ask them to add an optional quote, and some of the students love it. Some, they don't have a lot of time. I'm very cognitive of the students that have one or two full-time jobs, family, community obligations. So they don't have the time to go to the internet to find them, but the ones that do have the time, they really like it. And like Diane says, the more fun and exciting and surprise that you can do for the students during the week, they're going to learn more, because I'm all into neuroplasticity, and it happens when you're happier and more excited, you're going to remember, and you can connect that with more of your knowledge than if you're worried about something that the teacher or the professor may say. So that's that. Here's another one that's just repeating. Here's a TED Talk, add more gifts, comments and announcements. And I added an announcement about 5 times a week. I have announcements, and they're fun announcements. So they enjoy getting them in the email, and it's something to make them smile. Here's a effective humor. We have to be very careful of our humor right now, and maybe we always should be, and in the future. So this is animals, and here it is the nature and nurture question that we're talking about, and it is a rhino, because he has these horns, and he's carrying a scorpion. So here is some of the comments and a gift that I add when the student was talking about being in pajamas in a different culture. So here are some of the interesting quotes that I have added. I just make sure they're fun and they're quick. It's telling a story. It makes them relate. They love stories. I'm very cognizant of them reading a long story, so I try to condense it as much as I can and still get the meaning or the key idea to them. And here's even more strategies. Here is, I'm talking on Diane or Professor Hargrove slide. I'm sorry.
That's
Wait
okay.
a minute here.
So
I don't know this one. Go ahead.
just like Dr. Holly mentioned, I also teach the first year students. And so most of the times they're very intimidated and nervous about online learning and going back to school and all that. So I created a little smart start to success. And it's just like a couple of page document, but the first page is like just some different little tips that can help them, like set a schedule each week. Don't try to do everything all at once. Make sure you read the announcements. And I have different screenshots, but I also have a page where I created a calendar where they can actually fill in the calendar. What time of the day are they going to do their reading? What time of the day are they going to do their discussion posts, their initial post? What time, so that little calendar, they can put in times when they are very productive, or if they have some special time. For example, if they work, maybe on their lunch hour, they can respond to a couple of students' posts. But if they fill it out, well, a smart person once said, until you write something down, it doesn't exist. So this allows them to write down and create their schedule to help them create new habits. So that's just something I share. It's optional for them, but I have it posted in the announcements in the beginning of each cohort, and they really seem to enjoy it, because it helps them stay on track.
It really does. And I did postdoctorate work in stress reduction, and having the time management really reduces the student stress. And to see I love how you have the time. That's one thing I have not done, is state the time you're going to do it. That is really, really good. And I share a story about how when I went back to school and I had 3 kids, my youngest was 5 and she was in kindergarten and she wanted to play after kindergarten. And I said, well, I have an assignment. It's Monday. I got to get my assignment done. It's due on Sunday. And she'd ask me to play almost every day. And I would, by the end of the week, Friday, I was getting crabby. No, I have to do this assignment, especially on Sunday. So at 5, and I was, I think, 38 or something, she said, Mom, stop being crabby on Sunday, Friday, and Sunday. Do your work on Monday, and then you can enjoy the rest of the week. And she was 5. So that's her. And I tell my students that, and they're like, what? I go, yeah, it's true. I get crabby when I have time issues. So I think this is one of the best things. So now we go to the next slide. Oh, it's our references. Where did our question slide go? I don't know. Let's see if it's there it is. There's any questions you have. We don't have our email up here or our phone. You could call me. I don't know about Diane. What do you, anyway. Yeah, this is going to be here's your discussion question that you'll end up with a certificate when you respond in the DQ. And it is, Diane and I have thought you just write, what did you get out? Did you get anything out of what we just said? Name 3, because I want the 3 habits to develop with every one of the people I know. And then what best practices that you do? You probably do all these, but if you have something else, Diane has one. Did we talk about it? Am I blanking right now about your speech, how you talk into the DQs?
So I use, a lot of times I like to just create demo videos for them, or sometimes I just like to create a video so that they can hear my voice. And especially if I have a long message I need to tell someone or give them some good solid feedback on something or just something to help. So I use the add-on that's added to my Google browser called Screencastify. And I'm actually going to create one of those quick videos and I'm going to share it. I'm going to drop it in this in our professional development. So you could take a look. I'd be glad to have anyone who wants to use this extension, but it's just a quick way that you can create a video for a student, providing them with whether it's feedback, whether you want to demonstrate something to them. A lot of times students say, I can't find the ebook. I don't know where it is. And a lot of times it's easier to show them a video as opposed to just trying to walk them through it. But I find it to be extremely beneficial for online learning because, as you know, we're mostly visual learners and we remember more of what we see. So the Screencastify add-on to the Google browser is wonderful, and I do use that a lot. And I'll also share if anyone needs it to see it, but actually my little Smart Start to Success, it's a couple of pages. I used to call it a cheat sheet, but cheat sheet sounds a little cagey. So I changed it to Smart Start. So it's just a little handout and you most certainly you are able to use that if you'd like to and just change it, to conform it to your class that you're teaching, and just a little extra handout for them.
I think you should copyright that. Make some money off of that. But that's just my opinion. I love it. I wanted to add that at other colleges, so CHCP administrators, if you're listening, we have 1 week where we were doing what Diane was saying, where everybody just did a voice thread in the discussion. And it is wonderful. Like she said, it is enhancing, it's engaging the students, and it is really well. And she knows with this app, you can do it in any discussion thread.
Correct.
It's really good. So you think this is a wrap?
I think it is a wrap. Dr. Holly, you did an amazing job. And I know you have all of the instructors at College of Healthcare. And it's always just good to hear from one another. We're here to learn from one another and feed from one another. So thank you so much for allowing me to collaborate with you for
Well,
this
thank you
professional
for collaborating with me.
Yes, and we hope that each of you enjoy it. We will share our contact information too.
Yeah, we will we'll put it in the professional development. I hope we work together again. And I met somebody, where was I at? I was hiking and somebody was from Texas and Houston, and I said, well, I teach from CHCP. And they said the students are astounding. Oh, I first said that. And then they agreed that they knew people that had gone to CHCP. So it was a small world because I live in Phoenix. But anyway, very good. And I'm going to hit end recording. So we'll see you in the discussions.
Thank you all, everyone.
Yeah, I gotta get this. Thank you.